So 2021 is going to be just like 2020. Apparently, Freeze isn't going to be like, hey, new year, new me. Nope, new year, same Freeze. There we go.
Hey, you know what? I've been contemplating this. What do you think the odds are of the surgeon just dropping my original knee in a plastic bag and letting me take it home?
I think if you slip him a few hundo or maybe a couple bottles of Maker's Mark or something, it's a possibility.
He's an orthopedic surgeon. He's going to need Weller. I don't think Maker's Mark's going to be high enough.
Well, hey, you know what? I was initially thinking Pappy Van Winkle, but I didn't want to discourage your thought. So,
Yeah, fuck Pappy Van Winkle. I'm not paying $300 to $500 for a $50 bottle of booze.
On this episode of the John 1911 podcast, we love Duluth fire hose pants, the Lincoln Project scam, Estonian service rifle hits the market, and Joe Exotic just isn't gay enough.
Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Danny, Marky, and Freeze, and this is episode 201 of the John 1911 podcast. It is currently about 9:30 Saturday morning, January 23rd, 2021. And when I start issuing timestamps and dates, you know what that means. Things are changing very quickly. So if we do this podcast and it gets published, and it turns out the Martians, land like the Martian invaders in that Tom Cruise movie, and they start melting people on the planet. Like, why did you guys cover that on the podcast? That's why, because it happened after we published. So. Well, I don't even know where to begin. I think we should just kind of freeform it a little bit. I want to take care of some old business first. And Freeze does not know this is coming. So, Freeze, do you remember the last podcast you were on that you insulted the state of Tennessee?
I missed the last couple of podcasts due to reasons. And I don't know. I don't remember. How did I insult Tennessee? It doesn't shock me that I did.
I can't even really remember, but it was one of those throwaway lines. Usually you may say something about my ancestral homes of Virginia and West Virginia, but instead you just said something about Tennessee. I think we were at the very end of a podcast, and we were all pretty lit probably, and I got an almost complaint. Some guy reached out and was like, "Hey, what's wrong with Tennessee?" I was like, "What? What are you talking about? What's wrong with Tennessee?" Freeze said something bad about Tennessee. And what I thought was interesting is Freeze has insulted West Virginia for what, 3-4 years on this podcast, and we never get any feedback on that.
Okay, well, I don't know what I said to insult the state of Tennessee, but I apologize to any volunteers out there. I enjoy the state of Tennessee. I like the state of Tennessee. I visit it periodically. I've hunted it in the past. I meant no ill will against any of the good people of Tennessee, except for the person I was probably talking about.
So Freeze just made his hostage apology video. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Freeze, you're more than welcome to insult my city and state. Please do.
I insult your city and state all the time, and I make no apologies for that.
There is no apology. Trust me.
I guess let's go ahead and get in, because we can't even get away from politics right now. There's plenty of stuff going on. There's gun industry stuff. There's SHOT Show stuff that's actually happening. People are doing virtual SHOT shows. There's politics. So we haven't talked about this on pod. Danny was right. He predicted that Bannon and who else would get pardons or commutations, Danny?
I don't know.
It wasn't the.
I was too busy gloating after I was correct for once, so I really can't remember.
Well, but But it was like, I mean, he came down last minute. Bannon, was it? Who's the guy that the FBI SWAT team showed up at 6:30 with the CNN news crew? They raided his house. I'm having
Roger Stone.
Roger Stone. Didn't he get because he got commuted last time? Did he get a full pardon this time, or did he just?
I believe he did. I'll have to check into it, but I know Bannon did. He issued 130 pardons at 1 a.m. on his last day of office.
Yeah, I mean, they wrote him up days before, so.
Well, bear in mind, Danny, you're still only batting 500 here because you totally whiffed on the bombing.
Yes, I did, and
that's right.
All right, Mister, throw the knives in the back. That's fine.
But actually had forgotten about that.
Hey, off pod, I owned up to it. Did you not see it?
Danny was convinced, and as we got closer and closer, the argument was more and more convincing that Trump was going to bomb Iran, make a run at Iran. And I don't know, it's possible that the political screaming about what happened on Capitol Hill during the whatever they're trying to call it, may have derailed that. We probably won't know the real answers for those kinds of questions for possibly a decade. When people start writing their books and their memoirs, it'll be pretty interesting. It really will be. It'll be interesting if Mattis writes his book. It'll be interesting if Esper writes his book, the former Secretary of Defense, also Esper. There'll be some other ones, possibly some White House staff people. But yeah, but here's the thing. All for one for all and all for one. So when Danny's wrong, we're all wrong. We all take it on the chin. So,
did you see, real quickly, I don't know if we want to dive into it yet, but did you see who the House Democrats named as the impeachment manager for, Trump impeachment number 2?
No. Hold on. Before I want to cover one more subject on the pardons before we get to that.
Okay.
Did you hear the story about the person who was apparently campaigning very hard for a pardon and did not get one?
Was that the buffalo head horn guy?
Close.
Okay.
Close. I think a few of them did, actually. Joe Exotic has been, I guess.
Really?
Tiger? Is it Tiger King? Is that the show? I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either.
I'm confused. Like I thought like the Tiger King guy was dead, but I guess the one guy is alive and one guy is missing. There must be 2 guys, and apparently, like one of them now is gay or something. And I'm like, it's just all crazy. I haven't really followed it, but Joe Exotic, they literally had a white trash stretch limousine backed up at the jail, ready to take Joe Exotic out of jail. And it's just like, like they really overplayed their hand. But he released a statement, and he claims that he was, quote, too gay and too innocent to be pardoned by Trump.
What?
Well, everybody in jail is too innocent, so I could see his point. Yeah, I get it.
Spend enough time in jail, Hey, it's not gay if you don't push back, right, Joe?
I mean, let's do push-ups.
Yeah. Wow. I had totally forgotten about the Tiger King guy.
I've intentionally not. I don't really understand all of it. I have not seen any of that.
When that came out on Netflix, everyone was talking about it. There was all kinds of memes, and I'm like, what the hell is this about? So I queued up Netflix, and I don't really watch Netflix a lot, but I probably shouldn't even pay for the freaking service because I watch it that little. But I queued it up, and I watched the preview. By the time the preview was over, it's like, yeah, that's a nope. It's like, this is so goddamn stupid. It's like, I don't have the time to watch a 5, 6, 7 part miniseries on this.
So it is on
Tiger
Netflix.
Dude. Yeah, it's a Netflix thing.
Yeah, and it's like, well, okay. I mean, I know Netflix was always struggling to actually produce shows that people would watch because they did. I think Netflix did. What's the one where the winter is coming and they all dress like they were from medieval England or whatever from Lord of the Rings. I can't remember what it is, but like most of these streaming services that try to come out with their own content, a lot of it flops. That's a real problem. And I know, the Winter is Coming one with the Lannisters and a Lannister, all the it's like the medieval one with dragons and all that. Then this Tiger King one, I guess, was success, and I think maybe Mandalorian is a success.
Mandalorian's not Netflix. That's Disney.
The Disney, yeah, but but that idea that there's a bunch of these services and they're making tons of I did see the one. Did you see it, Freeze? The Tom Hanks one about the destroyer or frigate or destroyer captain in World War II making a convoy run.
No.
Apple came out with one at Greyhound, I think it is. It's
Greyhound.
The listener home.
Mrs. Freeze actually saw that. I did not. I don't look. Tom Hanks is a brilliant actor. He really is. I don't like Tom Hanks, and I don't watch his movies because I don't like him.
Well,
but
okay.
I mean, I will admit he's a brilliant actor, and I've seen a lot of Tom Hanks movies in the past, and he does a superb job. He's pretty marvelous as an actor, but I just choose not to watch his movies anymore because I don't like him politically or personally. So.
Well, okay, I'm gonna say a couple things here. Number one, if you're at home and you're listening to this and you're curious about this destroyer movie, Greyhound, it was produced by Apple. I think it's based off a book written in the 50s about a destroyer captain, his work during World War II. So it's based in pseudo-true. I think that they obviously, if this single destroyer saw that much action in their first convoy, holy shit. But what Apple did is they bought the rights to this, and they didn't CGI it. But what they did is there's one of these, I think it's a Fletcher class destroyer, maybe. One of these is a museum ship somewhere, like maybe in New Orleans. And so they literally went down and filmed a lot of the external stuff on an actual class of ship. And then, they did, and then for some of the stuff that's inside the ship, I think they built replica sound stages. And so it's not a bunch of crazy CGI. I mean, it is somewhat, but
they have to.
But these guys are on. But you can tell the entire movie is just based on a very small set because it's how many rooms of a small destroyer can you put into a movie? Now to go to your next point, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Look, I get it. These guys. Look, Lady Gaga performed at the inauguration. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see it. I think she just sung the national anthem, and I will watch it eventually. And she has performed it. She did the Super Bowl national anthem. I really like Lady Gaga.
So do I. I think she's great.
That's not the point, because I'm going to your point. I like Lady Gaga. I respect her. I think she's very creative. Mm-hmm. Look, do I think Lady Gaga gives two shits about anything I care about? She politically doesn't agree with anything that I agree with, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But, look, I think I look at Lady Gaga and I look at Tom Hanks as like, what? Bless you.
Thank you.
I look at Lady Gaga and I'm like, here's your money, dance for me, monkey. Like, do what you're supposed to do. And I don't care what, the rest of it. I don't think I have to buy an album from somebody and then get advice from them on foreign policy. It's like, whatever.
Did you actually watch the inauguration?
No.
Well, I didn't either. I was in a heated game of full contact tiddlywinks.
But I was
full contact.
I will contact, so little helmets and everything. Well, I will tell you this. I did watch. What was the girl's name? I want to talk about her because this is actually a good way to talk about this. Good segue. There was at every inauguration, at least the Democratic inaugurations, they have the poet laureate, where they try to have a poet come up and give a thing. And I remember, I think it was during Obama's inauguration. I can't believe I'm having a brain fart because I'm on a pod now. Who's the woman? She's passed. Who wrote the books? I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Tom talked about I Rise and anyway, I can't remember who the woman is, but she's I just for some reason I can't. And you guys have no idea who these people are, so I'm on my own here. I'm out on a limb. But this girl showed up at the Biden inauguration named Amanda Gorman. I saw it. I was hearing it. It was a great poem, and it looked like she's 14, but she actually looked her up. She's like 22, 23. Attractive girl, and
Harvard graduate.
But I'll come back to that in a second. And she gave this speech. And if you listen to the speech, you can tell she took a couple jabs obliquely at, say, the other side. Okay? But if you look at her poem objectively and you recognize she's a very smart young lady, she is very well spoken, she is very well educated, and she carries herself well. I mean, she's incredible. I mean, she really was. And if you listen to the points that she made in her speech or her poem, if you took her out of her setting, and if Trump's inauguration in 2024, and you literally drop her into the same event, but it's for Trump, and she gives the exact same poem, everybody on our side would be like, yes, because the reality is she talked about, differences and equality and America's trying to be, we're all trying to be as good as we can be. There's nothing she said that I would be against in theory. We may disagree on how to get there, but I'm not going to totally dump on this girl because she's, I guess, apparently a Democrat, and she showed up, maybe even the communist, but I don't know, but because she was at the Biden inauguration. It's like, well, look, she's a young girl from a broken family in Los Angeles. She grew up with a single mom, twin sister. She has some kind of speech impediment. Her mother is a teacher who I guess decided she did not want her own daughter to go to, quote, government schools, public schools, which are like government schools. So she went to a private school in LA, some kind of fancy private school, probably on scholarship. I don't know. I don't think they have money. Then she worked her way into Harvard, and she's 23 years old, and she's unbelievable. And she was astounding. And she is an example of some of the best things that America produces. And, I'm not going to let the left or Tom Hanks or Lady Gaga or Amanda Gorman take, the best things from America from me. The left can't have the Fletcher or can't have the Greyhound movie. That belongs to all of us. The left can't have Amanda Gorman, the poet laureate, who's going to probably be a superstar in the next 20, 30 years. She belongs to all of us. Just like how the left tries to say when, what's his name? Colin Kaepernick all of a sudden got a wild hair up his ass and decided one day that the Betsy Ross flag, the flag with the circle stars in the field, was a white supremacist, somehow racist flag. And it's like, no. You don't get to take that. That belongs to all of us. That's an American icon. This is an American person, American situation. And I'm not going to let the other side box me in on goofy shit, basically. And I'm going to, all of a sudden have to boycott stuff. I mean, surprise, it comes out maybe Tom Hanks diddles little kids. It's all those fuckers in LA LA's crazy. But I think about this too, for all of the people that are conservative or all the people that may be more on my side of the fence. All I've heard for 3 years now is how great Nashville is, right? Everybody's moving to Tennessee, right, guys? People going to Nashville. Businesses leaving California, going to Nashville, going to Austin. But Nashville, you hear Nashville quite a bit. Well, why does Nashville come up? Because the music industry's there. There's a lot of TV production there, music production there. And I wonder at some point when people on our side of the fence who don't know anything about these industries or how and a lot of this stuff works are going to find out one day that, oh, yeah, the music industry in Nashville is going to end up being very, very similar to the music industry in Southern California with casting couches and, old men walking around with their, quote, nieces, that are really their side chicks. It's it's all the same crap, and it's just it's not people that are so quick to throw stones. Better be very careful. That's all I'm saying. I'm not gonna let them box me in on stuff like that.
Well, apparently, I just learned today that after my last podcast, I'm no longer welcome in Nashville.
But that's good. Well, you know what? I guess. Wait a minute. Hold on. Freeze is like, why did you insult? Why did you insult Tennessee? Hold on. Marky's like, hold on. Hold my beer. I just basically called Nashville like
The truth comes out.
The truth comes out. It's like, dude, it's like it's everywhere. It's like, I mean,
No,
like,
but look, Atlanta is over the past
Same
several
way.
years has become big in the movie industry because the movie industry can't afford to be in Hollywood anymore. So Atlanta has a huge movie industry that's grown up over the past, I guess, maybe
not just
10
movie
years.
industry, not
What's
just
that?
movies, music.
Yeah, music as well. But the thing is, Atlanta's going to turn the same way. I mean, everything. I mean, look.
Okay. Whoa, hold on. Like, hold on. There are probably in this country. There used to be two hubs of real hubs of I would call it modern hip hop, rap, hip hop music.
Yeah.
You would kind of have New York, and then you had L.A. East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah.
You probably have people in Chicago that are like, "Hey, what about us?" It's like, "Yeah, dude, whatever. Go to New York or L.A. Pick a side." Well, now a lot of these people can go if you want to be a musician or you want to be a whatever, you can go to Atlanta because again, Atlanta has it's not just Tyler Perry and all the rappers, but they're down there making videos. So you've got video production people, you've got makeup people, you've got video editors, special effects people. There's an entire ecosystem that exists down there.
Yep.
But here's the thing: what makes anybody think? Do you believe for 1 second? And I am very familiar with Atlanta, that the things I just described in Southern California and I just described in Nashville haven't been going on in Atlanta for 20 years. Of course they have. You think there's a lot of these, now, I'm a hip hop producer. I'm going to put you on going around doing all kinds of crazy bullshit. That's Atlanta music scene. I mean, I'm pretty certain if you go to Atlanta and you're a young person, you're a writer, you're a talent, you're whatever, maybe even a model. There's some modeling down there too. You're in the deep end of the pool, and some guy comes like, "Hey, baby, I'm gonna put you on my label. I got a label. I'm a manager. I'm this." And reality is, he's just trying to lay it to her. I mean, that shit goes on everywhere.
Hey, well, let me tell you something. There was and I honestly couldn't tell you if it still exists today. It probably does. But 30 years ago, there was a thing called the Atlanta Underground. And it was a real seedy thing. I'm not going to go into details. I mean, Google it if you want. But the Atlanta Underground, this was 30 years ago. I mean, it was a really seedy environment. And, so Atlanta's got a past. I mean, Atlanta's not clean.
Freeze, you're 1,000% correct. Atlanta is the dead halfway point for us when we drive down to Florida when we go in the winter. And we've been going down there for over 30 years. 30 years ago, Atlanta was very seedy. Now when you go down, it's very trendy and the prices have quadrupled for anything that you need down there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the traffic in Atlanta and the amount of buildup there has been. The reason I like the John 1911 Armory, we have had contact with people in the Atlanta area who have skill sets on the creative side, to do stuff for us that like the average person listening to this podcast would not be aware of. So, it's like, yeah, I mean, Atlanta is you wonder in 30 years if Atlanta's going to turn Georgia into like New York. Basically, yeah, you know what I mean? Like Atlanta, you may not have to be able to own guns in it. Or in Georgia, you may have to own guns in Georgia because, they call it, they passed the SAFE Act of Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting.
Well, yeah, same could be said from Texas. So many people are leaving California and moving to Texas. Texas could be a blue state 20 years from now.
Yeah. It was blue in the past, so it's just one of those, one of those things. So, okay, let's get this back into some politics a little bit here. So, how long, Danny? How long has Biden been president? Has it been 5 days?
3 days.
Tuesday afternoon, or was it Wednesday?
Well, it was the 20th. Today's the 23rd, so 3 days.
3 days, 3.5 days. I mean, can't believe Biden hasn't fixed America yet. I mean, come on, give me a break. Come on, man.
Well, yeah, well, yeah, he did have everything, in his skill set all ready to go to have it all done, but he didn't. But the one one of the worst things, his first executive order was to stop the Keystone Pipeline and lay off 15,000 union workers.
Yeah.
So the first thing he did is put 15,000 people on the unemployment line. And, Democrats usually are the party of labor. That was just a direct get back at Trump. There's no other way around it.
Well, I tell you what, I read an article earlier this morning, about there's 3 different union organizations that supported Biden that are really, really upset about all the union workers that are now unemployed, and they're talking about like the you said 15,000. We'll go with that number. It's taken like $2 billion out of the economy in paychecks.
I think knock-on effects, the total employment. I mean, it might ultimately be subcontractors and whatever. Like it could be total 50,000 jobs.
Oh, it very well
easily,
could be. I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And here's the thing: the Keystone Pipeline isn't even a production. This is not like they're drilling. All they're doing is they're bringing. Is it oil?
They're making the pipeline.
Well, I know they're bringing it from. They're bringing it from
Canada.
And running it down to the refineries. I think out in Louisiana, probably, or Texas.
Well, and and to the good people of Pennsylvania, hey, thank you for electing Joe Biden president. He's going after fracking next.
Well, but politicians never lie, and he said that he wasn't. So this 180-degree turnaround, I'm very, very surprised. That just baffles me that they would say one thing and do another.
See, this is an example of where you very quickly the hypocrisy and the double standards that basically got Donald Trump elected are very quickly going to show themselves with the Biden administration, just like they would show themselves with the Jeb Bush administration. And, I guess the executive orders, did he do something on transgender things in sports? I don't even know if he has the power to do that.
There's something in the back of my mind that says I want to see that. But real quick, getting back to Pennsylvania. Now, Marky, you would know this. I have no clue of the landscape, not political landscape, the geographical landscape of D.C. There was a teacher on his own time went to the march in D.C. He was peacefully just standing around at the Washington, or the what's that monument? I can't even think.
The Washington Monument.
Washington Monument. Okay, he was at the Washington Monument. He was no way in any part near where the rioters stormed the Capitol building or whatever it was. So I don't know geographically how far those are apart. Well, he was a teacher in Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania school district where he worked suspended him for even being in D.C. and saying that because he's a teacher, he is promoting bad influence for the kids. So now he's suing for a First Amendment right violation, and this is all up in arms over that. Have you seen that?
I have not seen that, but here's the thing. Number one, he will win. He will win hard because under the First Amendment, it is understood. It's not understood. It is explicitly understood that the most protected form of speech is political speech. And if he was over at the Washington Monument, that's nowhere near the Capitol Hill. That's over by the White House.
See, I had no idea.
Well, so was he caught with a gun or something too?
No, he just took a photo of himself amongst the crowd. He posted it on his Facebook page. The school board, some member, seen he was in Washington at the time, and they suspended him.
Oh, they're gonna bend over on that one.
Oh yeah,
They're
they
gonna. I
will.
mean, they're gonna
Yeah.
bend over on that one.
I
They're
mean,
gonna get.
he
They're gonna
he's
get
he's
fucking
he's going to
hammered.
he's going to win this big.
Yeah. I mean,
You know, I mean, if that's your First Amendment. Now, no more freedom to assemble.
Well, I mean, hell, a lot of the I heard a couple of days ago, like I don't know if it was AOC or one of the other members of the squad was talking about that they need to take away children from Trump supporting parents to re-indoctrinate them or some
Yeah,
bullshit
send them
like
to
that.
indoctrination camps.
Yeah,
there was a there was a lawyer, a senior counsel for the National Association. Is it the NAE? With the national it's a teacher. I think it's a teachers union, the national one, and not the national.
NETA or something like that.
Yeah, National Association of Teachers of America. I don't know what it is,
Right.
but he's senior counsel. He was literally caught on video by I think Project Veritas, saying that they need to put need to take the kids from Trump supporters away because they're by virtue of just being Trump supporters that it's abusive to children, and that they needed to put kids and Trump supporters into re-education camps.
concentration camps is what
Well,
he's
he called
talking
it
about.
re-education camp.
Well, call it whatever the hell you want. I'm sure Adolf Hitler didn't call them concentration camps. He probably called them like, I don't know, kill boats.
They called them the final solution, as I believe is what the paperwork actually said.
Hey, but you know what? FDR, another great Democrat, we had concentration camps here in the United States. We put all the freaking Orientals in there. Anyone that looked Japanese went into them. I mean, we had concentration camps, so let's not.
We at Freeze. Remember, we also had the WPA, and that was basically a concentration camp. Work or you don't get nothing.
I've never heard the WPA caught up, but maybe it's like you tell
forced labor.
Well, think of it in a long-term aspect. You had to go. You had to work. If you wanted to eat, sleep, or whatever.
Well, you had to go. I thought you had to you went and volunteered for because you needed a job. I didn't know you had to go.
Well, I don't think the WPA forced people to work, but basically once you joined the WPA, you were kind of in the system, and you had to kind of go with the flow and do what they told you to do.
That's what I'm getting at.
But I do believe that if you said, "Hey, this is crazy," you could walk away. Whereas forced labor in Germany in the 30s, you couldn't really walk away.
Well, you know what? But here's a good point though. With all that, if you walk around parts of DC, and you'll notice multiple buildings that are very expensively constructed, and they have a certain neoclassical Greek revival type look. That's the best way to describe it. And almost all of that was constructed under FDR because it was a make-work program.
Yeah.
Like you'll look at a building, it's like maybe the Treasury building, it's right across from the White House, but there's a couple other buildings all around there, and you're like, these all look the same, and they're super expensive. And I believe all of that was constructed. It's blocks and blocks of it. All of that was constructed under the the New Deal make work program to try to give people jobs.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, since we're on DC, do we want to talk about the troops and what happened to them?
I heard a little bit. I don't know how big of a story that is. I mean,
I've looked into it. Supposedly, the troops that were part of guarding Washington during the inauguration, all the other stuff, they were being housed inside different buildings. Someone from the Capitol Police told them, this is supposedly again after the inauguration was final, that they can't be in the buildings no more. You have to go over and bivouac at this parking garage, and that's where you're going to sleep out in the cold.
I heard a story, and I don't know if it's specifically correct, but apparently a member of Congress was in a Starbucks or some kind of food court area inside the Capitol building, and there was a member of the National Guard in there getting coffee as well. And I heard this member of the National Guard did not have a mask on. and the House member, like the actual elected official, like the person, the real people, said you need to put your mask on. And I believe this National Guard member looked at this person, probably not realizing that they were a congressman, because it's very easy to do in that building, and said something like, "I appreciate my freedom." And so that set off a whole chain of events that led to a bunch of this drama. And I guess if you want to talk about this, you can talk about what's going on over in the White House. Biden issues executive order that all federal employees have to wear masks at all times on federal property, unless there's an exception or a carve out for, unless there's like a senior level person that feels like that for some reason we don't have to have or can't have a mask for this person doing this job, and they're going to supply in writing why that person doesn't have to do that for whatever for reasons. And Biden, Biden's in a federal property, the White House. He's not wearing a mask. The new Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, she used to be over at State, now she's at the White House. She wasn't wearing a mask, and it's like, well, look, I get it, I do. Again, this is, the hypocrisy of the other side is going to show itself, because all we heard for a year is every time Donald Trump was somewhere, he's not wearing a mask. He's not taking this seriously. He's putting people's lives at risk. And then when that wasn't the case, it was, well, he's not setting an example, and people are following his example, and they're dying. People are dying because you're not wearing a mask. And then now that Biden's president, they're not wearing a mask. They're not doing TV with masks on. A lot of it is just gotcha bullshit. You know why Joe Biden generally isn't wearing a mask? Can we just be real here? The reason Joe Biden's not wearing a mask is because he had the goddamn vaccine. He's not wearing a mask.
Pure optics.
I get it. We all get it. But it's like,
Yep. Did you see what DeSantis did with the Florida troops?
No, I don't.
That were in Washington.
No, I was on the range yesterday, literally for
I guess it was a lot of the Florida. I guess it was a lot of the Florida Guard that were forced to sleep out in the cold in the parking deck, and when he found out, he ordered them all back to Florida. And there's a picture, I don't know if you've seen it, but Pelosi was standing in front of a bunch of Guard troops, and she's giving them orders. And DeSantis said, hey, they are not her private servants. You guys all get back to Florida now. And supposedly some of the Democrats said, well, the governor can't tell those troops to come back. Guess what? Yeah, he can.
They haven't been federalized, have they? I don't believe.
No. They have not.
Look, there's two things here. Look, I'm not trying to piss in anybody's Wheaties. But again, this is like, look, it's the Capitol building, all right? And there's two people that run the Capitol building. It's the Speaker of the House and the House Majority Leader. So right now, that is Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Now, I think that as far as like how there's a law and safety committee and at the Capitol building, and it has multiple people on that board. It's got the Speaker. I think it's got the Majority Leader. I think it has maybe a couple of the whips or the couple of the number twos, like the Minority Leaders, and then like the chief of Capitol Police is on there, and the two sergeant at arms for the House side and sergeant at arms for the Senate side. So like in Congress. In that building, there are the equivalent of 3 police chiefs in those buildings. You've got the sergeant at arms responsible for the House. You got the sergeant at arms responsible for the Senate. Then you got the chief of police who's responsible for the police department for Capitol Hill. Capitol Police, not Metro DC, Capitol Police. Look, yeah, DeSantis is right. His troops are not in the chain of command of the Speaker of the House. But also, they are deployed to her building. And if it was, I don't know, like John Boehner, Speaker, Republican, who's out there like, hey guys, why don't you dress this up a little bit, do whatever, everything would be reversed. You would have Democrats going, these are not your personal Praetorian Guard. This is not this. This is all of the most of what this is just laser beams by the news outlets to drive people on both sides of the aisle crazy. And I'm glad the governor pulled his troops home. They don't need to be there. That had nothing. What supposedly Nancy Pelosi did or didn't do with these troops just really is an illustration of they can just come home. The issue isn't that she was telling them what to do. The issue is they don't need to be there anymore. Capitol Police took that bill.
Well, supposedly the Ohio lieutenant governor wanted the troops. There was an article I read yesterday. He wanted the Ohio troops to come back, but DeWine didn't want to listen to his advice.
Well, he doesn't have to, because I got news for you. Who's the commander-in-chief of the National Guard of the state of Ohio?
Well, exactly, but I wonder. I don't know the politics of Ohio, but I'm sure there's something going on there.
Here's the thing: like, how many times did the media, the liberal media, CNN, MSNBC, and the rest of them, run stories, during the Trump administration, talking about how trying to push a wedge between Donald Trump and Mike Pence. Like, if Trump was going to do something, or make a decision, or he was in favor of doing something, but it was obviously not something that Pence would do because maybe his style or possibly, on policy. The media would basically concentrate, well, he's not taking advice on Mike Pence. It's like, well, I got news for you. Mike Pence's job and the lieutenant governor's job for the state of Ohio is to stay healthy and go to funerals. And, we will call you when we need you. I'm sorry. Kamala Harris's job is to, show up at ribbon cutting ceremonies and go to state funerals. Like, no one cares.
And bide your time.
Yeah, and bide your time. I mean, I don't know if I let Kamala anywhere near the kitchen food service for I just put a little extra hot sauce in his ice cream or something just to, push it over the edge. But yeah, I mean, it's like,
then again, in Ohio, maybe there's trouble in paradise between the governor and the lieutenant governor.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but speaking of Kamala Harris, I saw an awesome meme. I did not send it on group text or anything, but it's got a picture of Kamala Harris, and it says, when you're the first female vice president, but you can't claim it since your party doesn't recognize genders.
Freeze, look to see where that came from.
I don't know.
I'm sure it came from Danny.
Oh hell, it probably did. I picked it up somewhere. But I thought that was hilarious. And on a certain level, I mean, it's a meme. It's made to be funny, and everyone laughs about it because it's cute. But on a certain level, the way the Democrats are off the rails with some of this crazy shit, it's true.
Oh my God! Are you on my personal Facebook page? I actually had two liberal friends of mine yesterday post. They actually post this. Stop all this political hatred. Well, you bitch, where were you for the last 4 years? Now the turnabout fair play, and they don't like it, and it's only 3 days into the, into the office.
Well, did you reply to him with that statement?
I just told you my statement back to her.
Oh, okay, because good.
Well, and now I'm unfriended.
Yeah. Well,
but that's difficult.
With you, bitch, as a high possibility.
You know what though? I mean, I believe it or not, I do have actually liberal friends that are socialist/communist. And look, they post shit on Facebook all the time that I don't agree with and I don't like, but I don't unfriend them over it because, well, I'm an adult. It's Facebook. What the hell?
You're not allowed to have two sides to an argument. You have to see things their way. Or you're gonna go to the indoctrination camp, Freeze.
That's very true.
Oh yeah, no. If there's indoctrination camps, I will be on the first fucking boxcar.
Hey, I warned all you guys a couple years ago. I warned you all.
You know
And
what
I said our show trial is going to be off the chain if things do go sideways, because this podcast alone is going to just bury all of us. We're going to be
Yeah, it is.
Oh
We're
yeah.
done.
in the
Well,
little rock.
you know what, Marky, do this. Remember our old boxcar design?
Yes.
In the comment or in the link section, just post a picture of our boxcar design, because I mean, when they're talking about indoctrinating children and taking away children from Trump supporters, that boxcar design kind of rings true.
It does. I forgot about that design.
And that's a great design. I mean, it really is. And I don't know, Danny, do you remember the boxcar design?
Vaguely. If Marky links it, I'm sure I'll remember it.
It's a reference to I think off the top of my head, it's a picture of a railroad train boxcar.
Yes.
And it's got some people outside the boxcar, and it says, "Why do they want to take away your guns? Because they know you won't get into the boxcar willingly." And it's a reference.
Oh, now I do. Now I remember.
A reference to what the Nazis did to Jews and other undesirables during the Holocaust.
I tell you what, honestly, if we were still making T-shirts, that would be a hit seller right now.
It would.
And do you guys actually think that these liberals talking about Trump supporters' children? Oh, here, take my kids. There's gonna be a lot of lead flying.
Hold on. There was a story that it did not get a lot of coverage yesterday, but it was this week. So I think I saw it yesterday, and probably happened in the previous 48 hours before then. So Kellyanne Conway, right? Kellyanne Conway, advisor to the president. Basically one of the two people that got Donald Trump elected. She was the first female to run a presidential campaign that actually, I mean, she was like, it's a big deal. Talk about empowering women. And, the media just did everything they could. And her husband is
George, the lawyer.
George Conway. And basically, he's a rhino Republican kind of guy, George Bush Republican guy. And he basically tried to get a job in the Trump administration. They wouldn't hire him. So then he turned anti-Trump, and he started the Lincoln Project, which is a bunch of Republicans who went around and campaigned against Trump in 2020. And they raised $88 million, by the way. And they all got filthy rich from it, because all these liberals gave them a ton of money, like, and all these rhino Republicans sucked a ton of money out of this. It's a giant graft operation. And so that Kellyanne Conway, that George Conway. Kellyanne's daughter, towards the end of her time at the White House, she was getting on, is it Instagram or TikTok? I think she was big on TikTok at the time. And she's saying all this crazy shit about her mom and all this crazy shit about Donald Trump because she's 15 and so she's a communist or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's just an awful situation. And this girl, just imagine, and you're at home, you're a parent, and especially if you are somebody who had kids when they're grown now, and imagine the worst moments you ever had with your teenage kids, say like in the 80s or whatever, and then imagine those kids having access to billions of people on the internet and just the kind of crazy shit they could say. Kellyanne Conway's daughter was getting on social media. I mean, it was super embarrassing. It basically forced Kellyanne to leave the White House. She left government service, and this week there was apparently a huge fight at Kellyanne Conway's house, and the police were called because it was a fight between the mother and the daughter. And that's how out of control a lot of this stuff has gotten, because these kids are going bonkers because social media is driving people crazy.
Why don't these kids just emancipate themselves and see what the real world's like then?
She has, I believe, even talked about doing that. That's how out of control it is. And and the thing is, and but this is kind of, I guess, my point. The Lincoln Project and Kellyanne Conway's daughter, this is just like Cindy Sheehan when George W. Bush was president. She's the Gold Star mom whose son was killed in Iraq, and she followed George Bush around everywhere he went because the media paid for it. And all the liberal news outlets put her on TV nonstop because it was a way to run George Bush down. And once Barack Obama was out of office, or once Barack Obama was in office, couldn't find her with a search warrant.
Oh, they dropped her
really
like
didn't
a
care
hot
about her.
rock.
They used her. And
Yes.
so she got so pissed off, she ended up going out to San Francisco and actually trying to primary Nancy Pelosi because she literally, like, she thought she was important and they used her. Well, Kellyanne Conway's daughter, at least George Conway got paid. But these kinds of people, Kellyanne Conway's daughter, they're about to find out that all these media outlets that cared what you had to say, they don't care anymore, because the only person they're addicted to, victimization wise, is Donald Trump. Like, they don't care what some 15-year-old blonde girl who is the top 1% of American society because her parents are political operatives in Washington D.C. and she goes to private schools and has every opportunity she can. What she has to say on TikTok today, no one gives a shit.
Yep.
And it's causing all kinds of drama and stuff. And a lot of people are figuring it out.
Well, and like you also alluded to, these people get delusions of grandeur that they really are something when they're not. And they're what's that about the 15 minutes of fame and it wears out quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
Well,
Hey. Oh, go ahead, Freeze.
no, I was just going to say, all these people that, like this girl you were talking about, all these people that had all this crap to say over the last 3-4 years. Now Donald Trump's not president anymore. He's out. They got what they wanted. The news media got what they wanted. The left got what they wanted. Well, guess what? There's a lot of people that are basically they're thrown in the trash can. It's file 13. Because
I have a follow up to the Lincoln Project. So the Lincoln Project became this huge vehicle. Like the liberal media, like, oh my God, you guys, you have a conscience. Donald Trump is so bad, Orange Man bad. Raised millions of dollars from donors to go against Donald Trump. Now that Donald Trump is lost, it comes out maybe a week after New Year's, that one of the co-founders of the Lincoln Project, these Republicans that are anti-Trump, never Trumpers, one of the co-founders, John Weaver, has been credibly accused. There's documentation of grooming gay men for sex. And
what?
So what was happening was he would get on like LinkedIn or on social media as a bigwig at the Lincoln Project, and he would see a dude. And this dude's John Weaver from the Lincoln Project is married. He used to work for John McCain, by the way. He's married. But what would happen is, like, be some guy, and he's probably gay, and but he works in like something in D.C. And he would get a private message like, "Hey, this is John Weaver from Lincoln Project. Can I give you some professional advice on something?" And the guy would be like, "Yeah, sure." And basically, it would turn into, "Man, you look so good. Your shirt's so tight. Your body's so good. Like, you need to do more of that and this and that." And it turned into major creepy grooming bullshit. And now here's my point. Before November 3rd or 4th, whenever the election was, the Lincoln Project was the thing. Okay? Now that Donald Trump's out, all this shit's coming out about the Lincoln Project and this dude, and like all these people popped up out of the woodwork. Oh yeah, I got messages from John Weaver. I got messages from John Weaver too. I blocked him when it became obvious to me that he was hitting on me. I did this. And here's the thing. There's no way in Washington, D.C. that all these people didn't know this shit was going on. But the media,
they knew it was going on.
And it's not just the media. The victims, who are all liberals, none of them wanted to come out and tell the truth about the Lincoln Project until the Lincoln Project had served its purpose. Now suddenly they're all coming out. And it's just like, really? Okay. All right.
And you want to bet a lot of that gets swept under the carpet because the liberal media won't cover a lot of that?
It's already swept under the carpet. I mean, it came out. It was a story in certain circles for maybe 72 hours, and it's already over. And so John Weaver, his defense, and he came out here, and as far as liberal lefty media politics are concerned, he basically came out and said, "Yeah, I'm married, but I'm gay, and so I'm trying to deal with it. I'm sorry." And
so it's okay for John Weaver to be a gay pimp.
Well, I mean, I guess you can, if you come out as gay, I guess you can start from zero.
Well,
Well,
hold on a
didn't they?
second. Hold on
Go
a
ahead,
second.
Freeze.
Wasn't there? Was it? Ah, man, I'm. Wasn't there maybe a celebrity or something who was married who his excuse was, yeah, I'm gay, and shoot, there was something very
Is it
similar.
maybe a celebrity with a fake ass bogus wife? No, dude, that never happened.
No,
Okay, yeah, you're
no.
right. No, oh my God, I can't remember. I'll think of it later.
I
But
remember when Rock Hudson came out that he had AIDS, which turns out that they were like, yeah, he didn't get it from a blood transfusion. And I remember like Ronald Reagan was like, I don't believe it. Ronald Reagan's like, no way, no way. It's like, yeah,
Well,
Ronnie.
Marky, you talk about double standards. How about that Eric Swalwell? Wasn't he supposed to have a side chick or something? And all of a sudden, you don't see anything about that. Now he was just named lead prosecutor in Trump's second impeachment.
He's an impeachment. Was he named as an impeachment manager? Oh
Yes.
God, I did not know that. So it's just like, oh God. So Eric Swalwell. So okay, in America we have the CIA. In Russia you have the KGB, which is now turned into the FSB, but we still call it the KGB here. In China you have the MSS. Okay, most people in the U.S. don't understand that. They know there's like a KGB or something. It's called the MSS, and the MSS stands for the Ministry of State Security, and they are super crazy, powerful, scary group. They are as bad as anybody.
Gestapo.
They're Gestapo level bad. Yeah, they are crazy. And Eric Swalwell was stooping a MSS agent for a while in the United States.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the story. And the reality is nobody's really talking about it like that. It's this weird kind of like, Chinese person, questionable background. FBI kind of told some people to like, hey, you better watch out for this chick. And then like so and so I broke off all contact and all that. And it's like, oh yeah, turns out that now he was stooping her. And
Well, just like Feinstein's chauffeur.
oh yeah, that was another one. Well, you know what? But see, that goes back to another thing. A lot of people in the United States don't understand. A lot of really heavily, very secret things are intentionally not revealed to Capitol Hill, because Capitol Hill. Well, this is Senator Leahy still a senator from Vermont? Danny, is he still a senator?
Yes, he's
Do you know
still
what
there.
his nickname is in Washington?
Peaches. I don't know.
His Senator Leahy, longtime Democratic senator from Vermont. His nickname is Leaky Leahy. And if you want something out in the this is real. If you want something out, he's the guy. He keeps all the contacts. He's all the relationships. He loves being the guy with all the dirt or all the information. Or, like, oh yeah, there's a 6th generation fighter. like Leaky Leahy would be the kind of guy that'd be like, yeah, I wouldn't worry about that Chinese thing saying they can beat the F-22 because we got something better. What? He would say shit like that. And it's just like, really?
Well,
So what you're saying is Leahy is like J. Edgar Hoover with loose lips.
well, I don't know if he's got a closet full of clothes.
Hey, I have a closet full of clothes, but not a closet full of dresses. So,
well, I actually have a closet full of dresses. Unfortunately, I can't fit any of my suits in there because there's too many dresses in there.
Well,
they're not mine, but
Freeze, you lucky bastard! I have 4 closets in this house. I get a half of one of them.
Hey,
So-
you're lucky you get the half.
Well, and it's the smallest closet in the house. It's
Of
where she
course
keeps the
it
dog food.
Yeah, of course it's the smallest closet because, well, that's basically you're a guy.
when
Yeah.
do you know how Danny gets breakfast in the morning? He the sunlight comes and it comes across his face. He opens up his eyes and he sits up in bed. And then a bucket on a rope comes down the pit, and it says, it puts the lotion on the
Puts the
skin.
lotion on the skin. Hey, but look,
Yeah.
Danny. I'm going to tell you a John1911.com secret. because I've been there and I've seen it.
My finger is on the mute button like you can't believe it. I'm going to mute your ass.
No. We're talking about closets. Marky's closet is bigger than my bedroom.
I believe
And I got a pretty big bedroom.
And all he has is a damn barcode shirt in it that he wears. So why he has that much space, I'll never know.
Well, it's an empty closet with one T-shirt and one pair of jeans hanging in it.
Hey,
And the one dress shirt.
I'm a guy, you know. Here's the thing: I did notice, like, I kind of generally wear the same clothes.
Yes,
like,
you do.
Like for example, like I was at the range yesterday, and I'll be at the range again today. I was at the range all day yesterday, and I've got these pants. I've been wearing pants from Duluth Trading Company, the Fireman Flex Hose Fireman something pants.
Oh, I thought you were wearing the ball sack pants.
The ball sack pants? No, they're too tight.
Oh yeah.
That's only when he drops his gun and his phone while jogging.
My gun fell out of my ball sack hammer. So, and it's like, these are like, I mean, they're blue. I have multiple pairs of these things. I kind of like started wearing them this year, late last year. And I really like them better than jeans because, I'm not going to say I'm athletic. I mean, I am for my age, but I'm doing stuff. I'm knocking down trees. I'm running across the range shooting. It's not like denim. They don't bind. You know what I mean? Like they're very nice pants. They look kind of like to me like if I was a mechanic. They have that kind of blue color to them, and they got cargo pocket.
They're flexible though, right?
Yeah, they're flexible, and I haven't washed them like for probably 10 days. I come home and I take them off. And I hang them up because I'm going to go back to the range the next day and get them. They don't stink. It's not like, I mean, if they got like really blown, that's the winter. But it's like I just kind of wear the same pants, like I can wear those for a week or longer. Unless they get like totally covered in mud or something. It's like, yeah, they're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a guy. It's not like, hey, you're wearing the same outfit you wore yesterday. It's like, yeah, no shit. I got shit to do.
I have a couple pairs of 311s and they're comfortable as hell. So I wonder what those are like.
Well, I know we will now never be getting a sponsorship from 511 because you just
or 511. Sorry,
so
511s. Hey, I am on drugs for
I'm
pain
not
meds.
I'm not going to return that phone call. Okay, so
sorry. I misspoke.
Actually, Danny, my respect for you just dropped 2 notches because you wear 511 pants. And we won't get a sponsorship.
Mr. Infallible, excuse me.
I used to wear, when I was the old place I used to work, a lot of the instructors and stuff, we would all wear, that was kind of the uniform, the unofficial uniform, the 511 pants, like that tan pant and like, whatever shirt and then your gun belts. Yeah. And I wore them because it's, I see the practicality, utility of them, but my legs, I don't know, like some 511 pants were very binding. Now, I'm sure it's different. If I went to a 511 store now, they probably have flex fit and all this other kind of stuff, but I hate those pants. I got rid of them all when I
really, I like mine.
No,
yeah, I mean, they probably have new ones now.
Now, look, there's nothing wrong with 511 pants. They're great utility pants. If you're out there working, whether you're a lumberjack or working on a gun range. I mean, they are good pants. I don't wear them personally because, honestly, the only pants I have that have cargo pockets and stuff are camos that I use for hunting and stuff. They're not practical to me. I don't need them.
Yeah,
I wear jeans.
To me, I don't like them because they look like you're like a gun guy.
Well, and that's another thing. I don't like to look like a gun guy. I'm a fat bastard, and I wear jeans. I wear jeans and a t-shirt, and I don't really need people thinking that I'm some, tactical mall ninja guy. I mean, I walk around, no one goes, hey, that old fat guy's got a gun on him. But if I'm wearing 511 pants and with bloused boots and my my camo skin tight t-shirts that's showing my 6-pack under about 18 pounds of fat, with
Mr.
sleeves
Peck.
cut off. I mean, I don't like the look, and that's not me. But that's not saying that 511 pants are bad. I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, I joke about it,
But
but
in a
they,
job like you guys know what I had, and you have to carry a bunch of stuff on you, or it's a long trek back. They were nice to have those pockets. That's why
I,
I had them.
no, absolutely, and I see that. I do. Again, I mean, earlier I joked about them and made fun of them, but no, they're very practical pants, and they're a good utility pants, and they're durable. And
Well, the Duluth Trading Company pants that I have, like I did a post last year. Like you saw me where I took the, a lot of them have a hammer loop in them, so you hang a hammer like in your pants or hang a tool.
Right.
And I
Carpenter
took a
pants.
1911 and hung it in it. Those are the Duluth Trading Company pants, and I really like these pants. But I like these pants, but it'd be nice to have this pant and not have all of these pockets on. And I went and looked, and I was like, holy shit, they've got them without the pockets. And so I can wear these like they look like slacks, or they look like they're not jeans, and they're not tactical tan. And I'll tell you what, like if the Duluth Trading Company approached us and said they would like to sponsor the podcast or have some kind of relationship just for those pants, I'd be like, hell yes, because I highly endorse that product.
I actually like Duluth Trading Company, and I have bought several garment pieces from them in the past. And we have a local Duluth store in our neighborhood.
Yes, there's it's off of 75 up by Cabela's, right?
Yes, yeah, it's right. Actually, it's kind of like right next door to Cabela's.
Yeah.
Well, Freeze, I actually have some Duluth Trading Company, those no bind underwear. They're the best ever.
I wear women's panties, so I wouldn't know about that.
I mean,
Okay.
Remember Freeze made a joke a long time ago. Here's a callback, and he was like, if I ever see a shipping container of pink women's thongs for $5
Oh, I remember that.
Well, he bought that container, and now he can't sell them all, so he's got to work.
So I wear. Hey, look, I wear them because I'm stuck with them and I can't sell them. What the hell?
Well, I can't blame you for wanting to get your money out of them.
Hey, I don't like to see anything go to waste.
No.
And you know what? There's starving girls in China that don't have pink thongs. Because Freeze bought them all.
Because I bought them all. Yes, I bought them all. Yeah, it's my fault.
Hey, getting back to DC, are we going to touch on the impeachment thing, or are we going to wait?
I could
I
cover it in a
honestly-
second. The Democrats are dying to impeach Donald Trump because they're scared to death he's going to run again. And
You know what?
There's your answer.
Here's the thing. Let's hold off on that because let's see what happens over the course of the next 7 to 10 days.
That's what I was thinking also, because it hasn't really even been presented yet. So it's
We've been going for a while. I've got a bunch of I still have I've got industry stuff. I still have a police blotter and some pop culture stuff that we could go through and get to some of the fun stuff for people that have stuck with us this long.
I actually have some gun content myself today.
Hit me with it, baby. Hit me with your gun content.
Okay, I went into a local chain store, which is now going out of business, and I don't know if we can name their name, but
Yeah, go ahead.
okay, it used to be called Big R, now it's called Stock and Field. There's about 15 of them through the Midwest, and they're basically like maybe a Cabela's halfway or clothing store or whatever. So right away it said everything 30% off. They're liquidating everything in the store. So I went back to the gun section. They used to have hundreds of guns. Now they have, I counted, there were 21 pistols. One was a 40, and the other 20 were that, is it 7.62? I can't remember.
357 SIG?
Oh yeah, that's what it was. And they had 20 of them in that caliber.
What was the make of the who made the 40? Was it Glock or a major gun?
Yeah, it was a no, it was the Bursa.
A 40
Burst?
caliber Bursa?
Whoa!
I believe that's what it was.
Whoa! I'm afraid that would come apart.
Jesus,
That thing would like. I mean, I think if you pulled a trigger on a 40 caliber Bursa, that thing would blow up like the Space Shuttle Challenger in your hand.
Oh, and I'm sorry, there were two 40s. There was a everyday carry M&P.
Okay, I mean, I wouldn't do an everyday carry M&P in 40, but I'd rather have that than the Bursa. That's for damn sure.
I'm almost sure it was Bursa.
Wow,
I'm
that's
almost sure. Well,
that's
no, wait a minute.
scary.
It was a Beretta, and it wasn't the '96. So is that called the Versa?
There,
No.
okay. There's a Okay, there's a Beretta 92, which is 9mm. There's the Beretta 96, which is the 40. Then there's a series of these Berettas called the Vertec.
Maybe that's what it was.
And it could have, if it was in 40, it was a Beretta
40.
96 Vertec.
That's what it was. I'm sorry, I was mistaken. Boy, these drugs are kicking in today.
No, that makes me feel better though, knowing that it was a Beretta.
I would rather had a 96, but those are nowhere to be found.
We still do not have a Beretta 92X Performance with the 1911 style thumb safety.
Dude, and I so want one of those in the armory. I really, really do, because that is a sweet, sweet gun.
It's going to be a heavy gun, but
but you know what? I don't care about heavy. I mean, heavy never bothered me, but that is a sweet, sweet gun.
I agree with Freeze. I myself would like to try that at the range.
Yeah, we'll have to arrange it next time you're in town. I'll tell you what. One thing I did, because we don't know what Biden's going to do with everything that's going to happen. And I kind of came to we were all kind of chatting on the group chat one night, and I was realizing, like, holy cow! I just realized, like we have magazines out the wazoo. Like, I mean, I took care of that years ago. And, you can always buy some more of certain things, but like, the standard stuff, the Glocks, the AR-15s, P-Mags, Steel Mags, all this kind of stuff. We're good. G3 Mag, we're good. I mean, you always use more mags, but I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, this Wilson EDC X9 gun with this, limited, with this kind of custom, it's a proprietary magazine, 18 rounds.
Yeah.
And it's like, if they chop down, and, let's say they go to 10 rounds or they try to chop it down to 15, it's like, well, I have this Magwell. I want the 18 round thing on it. I'm like, well, shit, how many 18 round? And I think we've got 7 mags for the 18 round 7 mags. So I reached out to Wilson and we took care of it. And we have 20 of them on the way.
Yeah. And
I don't know if we need more.
I'll tell you what, when you told me you ordered that many mags, my asshole puckered a little bit.
Yeah, did you ever take out a second mortgage?
Hey, you know what, Danny? At the end of the day, it's a tax write-off, baby.
We spend more on Wilson mags than most people would spend. I mean, more than a gun.
Hey,
I mean,
You know what though? Let me. Speaking of mags, and this is an interesting little side note. Totally, it's mag related, but off subject a little bit. I just found out. Okay, so I built the 7.62x39 AR. The AR 47, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And right now I'm running a Duramag. I've got a 10-round Duramag in it, which and I got the 10-round mag because I built the gun for hunting, and most states have a 10-round mag limit. So, but anyway, I just found out that the 7.62x39 round, if you take, now I don't know if this works in PMags, but if you take an aluminum AR mag, a 5.56 standard mag, just pull one off the shelf in the arsenal.
Yeah.
It's a 30-round AR mag. If you only load 10 to 12 rounds of, because a 7.62x39 round will load into it. If you only load 10 to 12 rounds of 7.62x39 into a standard AR-15, aluminum mag or a metal mag, it will function and fire. But the problem is, if you get more than 12 rounds in there because of the increased body size and the neck size, then they start binding up.
Yeah, the thing is with the AR-15 is the top of the magazine. like 30. If you look at an AR-15 magazine, it's got like you call them banana clips. Like it's straight at the top, and then it's got a slight curve at the bottom. An AK magazine is straight at the top, and it's got a much more significant curve. Well, the top of that magazine, you would call that the tower, and the AR-15 round, the 5.56 round, does have a slight taper to it. And so the tower can still functionally be straight. The AK-47 round, even if it will fit in an AR-15 mag body, which I'm not certain it would.
Oh no, it will. I've tried it.
Okay. I've never got to try it. But you know what? I now that I think about it, because they make those magazines that fit for those AR-47. So yeah, I mean it's the same. The magazine's the same footprint because it fits in the mag well. So
yes, except the magazines dedicated, like the 30-round magazines dedicated for the 7.62 by 39 round.
If you look at a Stanag type, and saying this that way is a misnomer, but if you look at an AR-15 type magazine that is built to take the AR-47, AK-47 rounds, you'll notice it has a straight tower because it needs that straight tower to go into the gun. But then it's got a really steep curve at the bottom because the AK-47 round curves. And that was always one of the weaknesses of the AR-47 concept, is getting that heavily tapered round up through that magwell tower.
Yes. So if you take a standard AR-15 M16 mag, whatever you want to call it, and you only put 10 to 12 rounds in it, it will function. It'll
probably
function
just
properly.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Now, mind you, I buy the dedicated mags for the 7.62 by 39 round because I don't. I just
let me ask you a hunting question. If you took an AR-15 magazine, that's a 30-round magazine, and you put 5 3.9 rounds in it, okay, and you go out to the farm to shoot, and the DNR shows up and checks your gun, or maybe you got 3 rounds in. I don't know, whatever the rule is. Do you have to have that mag blanked off?
Well, no, you don't have to have it blanked off. But that's interesting that you say this, because they will check your mag to make sure you don't exceed the limit. Like, for example, in the state of Indiana, it's 10 rounds. So if you have more than 10 rounds, you're in trouble if you don't. But since I have hunted with the VZ58 in Indiana, and the VZ58 is a 7.62 by 39, gun. But here's the problem. You can't buy 10-round magazines. Well, they do make them in Europe, but they're really hard to come by. It's very difficult to find them. So what I did, and actually there's an article on this on the john1911.com website, where I took a standard 30-round VZ58 magazine and I bought a mag block for an AK-47. Because basically they're the same. They're not the same magazine. VZ58 won't take an AK-47 magazine, but the mag block works the same because it's the same type of magazine. So this is a mag block that I dropped into it, which basically prevents you from loading more than 10 rounds into the magazine.
I remember back in the day, you used to make us plug our shotgun tubes. Was that because you had to do it? Was it for Indiana, or was it for Ohio?
Well, in the state of Ohio, you have to have a plugged magazine for shotguns because you can't have more than 3 rounds in the gun.
But you can't have an 8-round shotgun with just 3 rounds in it because they check for the plug.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
now in Indiana, there is no limit. I mean, you can have a belt-fed shotgun in Indiana, because they don't have limits in Indiana. And that's one of the reasons I chose, when I was hunting shotgun in Indiana, I chose the Mossberg 500 because, it basically held an extra round more than an 870.
Sure.
I mean, but, these
3.9 magazines, when you're doing this, because the first thing that comes to mind, and I don't want to talk about it too much on pod for obvious reasons because I don't want to embarrass anybody. It's nobody here now, but I told you the story about the guy that showed up and he had the 458 SOCOM gun with these magazines that look like the front end of it had been bit off by a shark because you have to relieve it.
Yeah.
Do you have to do that? Do the 3.9 guys, if they take an AR-15 magazine, if they're trying to jerry rig to get 5 or 6 or 7 rounds into their AR-47, if they're trying to be slick, do they hog out the front end of that magazine too, or do they just leave it?
No. On the 7.62 by 3.9, if you're using an AR mag opposed to a 7.62 by 39 mag, you don't have to modify it. But what happens is you have a AR mag that's a 30 round mag, and 5.56 is a lot thinner and skinnier, and the neck taper is a lot lower than the 7.62 by 39. So what they do is they try to jam this mag full with as many rounds as they can, and that's where they run into problems. Now, when you're talking about like 450, what is it? 450.
I think that guy was shooting because I was looking at the Doc was on the range with me yesterday, and he was like, "What's this brass?" I was like, "That's 458 SOCOM." He's like,
"Okay, so 458 SOCOM. Here's the problem with that. You can use that in an AR mag, but you have to modify the mag.
That's a 45 caliber bullet."
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. So guys modify. What they do is they take a P mag or an aluminum mag, either or, and they take a Dremel or tin snips or I don't know, a fucking chop saw, and they try to fucking modify it, and they usually end up screwing it up because.
Because.
Okay,
I mean,
but here's the thing. But you can buy a different floor plate and spring system that will modify it to where it'll take that fat fucking round.
Yeah. Now, like a lot of this stuff to me, like, okay, like I'm gonna say this because it needs to be said. This is my opinion. I would probably never take. I would have to be in pretty dire straits to try to take a standard AR-15 magazine, shove a 3.9 round into it, and hope it's working in my gun, other than like a Bubba project, because I don't think that's going to be that reliable. I mean, I know you probably read somewhere guys are like, oh, if you do 12 rounds or 8 rounds, it works great, and maybe it does.
Look, okay, so
but I'm not that into it.
But okay, so now if you go back to the john1911.com website and watch my video of me test firing the AR-47 on the range after I got it built, you'll notice that the magazine that's in the gun is a 10-round magazine. And it's a Duramag made for 7.62 by 39. Because even though I know you can put a few rounds in a standard ARP mag or an aluminum mag or whatever the case is and fire it, why bother? Buy a mag that's dedicated for the round, dedicated to the caliber, and it will function.
Yeah.
I mean, because first off, AR platforms in 7.62 by 39 are finicky enough. So why add any potential issues or problems? Now look.
Okay, we need to move forward here. So I want to cover some SHOT Show stuff. So, and you and I had actually talked about this offline.
Yeah.
So they've come out. There's a list of things coming out for SHOT Show for 2021 because just doing it virtually, and B&T is bringing into the country AR pistols. They're going to bring them as pistols because I think the service. I don't know who adopted this rifle. The Hanel rifle from out of Germany. B&T's bringing them in. Basically, they're piston guns. It's like Hanel's version of a 416. And I thought that was very interesting. They were like $3,400 the MSRP on.
Yeah.
And I'm actually I like this gun so much I might buy one as a pistol in SBR.
And 20 extra mags.
Well, it uses air mag.
Well, but the big question is, with the Biden administration, I mean, if you want to buy one, you need to buy one quick
Well,
because
okay, yeah, I'm glad
I
you
don't.
brought that up because here's the thing. They had a video on it, they were talking about it, and they're like, when do you expect these to be available? And the guy's like, April. And I'm thinking, well, if the Biden administration doesn't put the kibosh on bringing these into the country, because there's a good chance that Joe Biden could, through executive order, really curtail imports of certain things. And
Absolutely, and that's what I'm thinking about. So,
yeah,
I mean, if you want to buy one, which hey, I mean, go for it.
you
I
may
mean,
not have. Well, I would buy it as a reference gun because I can't remember who adopted this gun. I don't think the Germans adopted it, but it's. I would keep it. I would just put a stock on it, SBR, and keep it as kind of a pseudo reference gun. But also, LMT has announced a few things. We talked about this. LMT is bringing in. Well, they're not going to bring us or make them here. So this is more likely to happen because LMT has won. LMT has had a fair amount of success on the international arms market. I think LMT got the contract for the New Zealand Defense Forces, their service rifle. LMT got I believe, got a contract for a DMR rifle for the UK Army. I believe that's an 18 or 20 inch gun. And
didn't they get they got a New Zealand contract too? I believe.
I just said, didn't I say New Zealand?
I thought you said Australia.
Did I say
No,
Australia?
he said New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Oh, okay,
They
my
got New
bad.
Zealand.
I thought you said Australia. My bad.
Yeah.
Never mind.
But, most people think they're the same. They've also got they got the contract for the Estonian army. All the three Baltic states up there, like basically northern Russia. And I don't know the specifics on the gun, but they're advertising it as the Estonian service rifle. Okay. It's probably got a 14-inch barrel. I doubt it's got a 16, but they are selling it as a direct copy of what's the Estonian service rifle. And I was like, you know what? I'm down for that too. That could be an alternative to the Hanel, and I was like, yeah, that's a good one. But also, we had talked about this. LMT has got they've got a shot counter system for their guns. And we've talked about shot counters here in the armory because for records keeping, and FN has one, for the SCAR systems, and it probably works on other rifles too, but it's really designed for the SCAR. It's all built into the pistol grip. And you change your pistol grip out. It's got electronics in it, and it does basic it's a shot counter, and it does other things. Well, LMT is going to sell one. They're going to sell them on the U.S. market, and it's going to count rounds. It's going to count dry fire. It's programmed based off the data it collects. It's going to tell people when it thinks that your barrel needs to be replaced. It's going to say when it thinks it needs to be lubed, just based off of a preset number count. It doesn't monitor the barrel. It just says, hey, you fired this many rounds, you better lube your gun. And it has a bunch of this data, and the pistol grip is like $70. And I was like, finally, that's super interesting. And then I read the rest of it. It said the reader to read the pistol grip is $5,000, and I was like, $5,000.
And we talked about that, and I like the system. I like the idea of the system. Obviously, for us, that's $5,000 for the reader is just insane. However, if you've got a law enforcement community, if
you're running a small police department and they've got a bunch of service rifles and you're not all gun guys and you're trying to maintain. If some armorer could easily make an argument for this, be like, okay, bring the guns in, scan. They could even use them to be like, hey, why didn't you fire this gun? Oh, I took it to the range and I did good, great. We're glad you shot it. Or it could be like, why are you shooting this gun?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great system. I don't like the price point, and the price point's not practical for us, for example. But,
you know what? No, I mean the truth is, if we really, really needed it, we could absolutely buy it. And the thing is, $5,000 plus $70 for each pistol grip, and probably like a little maintenance service package for like a small police department. That's nothing. That's part of very affordable, and this is getting better and better.
It's very affordable for a small police department, but I don't necessarily know if John1911.com needs to spend $5,000 for the reader, and then $70 times, I don't know how many
no, we're not.
ARs do we
No.
have?
We're not. I mean, it's not you don't know. We simply don't need it because I can just keep track. I can log the stuff by hand like I do every day. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you've been logging round counts as long as I've known you, and I've known you for
almost 20 years.
Yeah,
at least
exactly.
18. We figured out it's at least 18, maybe 19 years.
At least 18, 19 years, and you've been logging round counts since I've known you. So, so.
And let me tell the listener at home,
guess what? You just saved us like $6,000.
Yeah, all the times I had to get out a little notebook or whatever and write down numbers and or count mags and then do the addition based off of that. All those man hours. I mean, it adds up to a fair amount of time over 20 years. But what happens? It's a kind of thing. If you're managing a lot of guns and you shoot a lot, it's something it behooves you to do because like you got Glocks, you got 1911s, and you're like, well, you shoot 8,000 rounds a year, and you're like, I don't know how many guns did I put through this, put through that, because you and I both know, and gun people don't want to admit this. People who say like I'd imagine I probably got 5,000 rounds for this gun. It's like, and you actually look at if you were to able to look at the data of what they really shoot, like, fool, you're not shooting shit.
I tell you what, people tend to think they shoot more than they actually do.
Yeah, they do. Yesterday, I was on the range. I did precision rifle work for most of the day, and then when it got to be dark, I did pistol work, and I didn't shoot a lot yesterday. I just did some eye work, just transitioning really from like one target to the other, just trying to bring it over with the eye, like I'm trying to get as fast, shoot it as fast as you can see it, but you need to see it, not just throw the gun over there. You got to actually look with your eye, bring the gun over. Look with your eye, bring the gun over. And I did that. And it was 108 rounds.
Wow.
Well, but you know what though, Danny? When we're out at the range shooting video, like if I'm running the camera and Marky's running the gun, I mean the video may be a 3 or a 4 minute video, and in the video he may shoot 30 or 40 rounds, but the truth is, in the filming of that video, he probably shot 150 rounds.
Oh, I bet the editing I bet the editing is and the time consumption is insane. Which reminds me, Marky, I'm glad that you and Free said that you just saved $5,000 to $6,000 on not getting that count, that gun with the automatic count on it, because a girl we all know said, "Did that damn Marky ever get that 22 mag?" I said, "I'll ask him."
No, not yet. And and the thing is, nobody can get it. Well, let me tell you this. Because we're going to talk about this one too, because we're talking about gun stuff. Ammo. I am probably this coming week, maybe the following week for sure. Because here's the thing: since the ammo has dried up, which is we're now closing in onto a year, I have not curtailed shooting operations here at the Armory one bit. And our run rate on ammo is still at 9mm. And I'm getting to the point that I'm probably going to have to go onto the open market and start paying market prices for cases of 9mm because I don't want to run out. And it's going to be expensive. I mean, it's going to be expensive on a per case basis because we buy cases. But the reality is, even if, like, let's say I have to buy, 5,000 rounds of 9mm. I'm not going to buy a pallet of it, but and it ends up being $700 a case or something like that. I think I can really get it for $7. In the course of the year, it's instead of paying, I don't know, like I can't remember what the case of 9mm used to cost, and it could be more. But if you add up all the ammo, the run rates of ammo, especially 9mm, because it's by far the most used round. Excuse me, the most used round. It's not. It's more expensive on a case level, but amortized out over the year, it's still not that much more money yet. But we're looking to Yeah, we're about to lay down some serious coin for some 9mm ammo around here.
It's only going to go up.
Well,
I hope it doesn't, because we're going to keep shooting it. I mean, we're not buying and holding it; we shoot.
I mean,
Like,
that's the thing that sucks. I mean, the ammo rate's going up, but if like there's a lot of guys out there that are not shooting right now because they don't want to deplete what they have. But
Good point.
but I mean, seriously, I mean, if we're continuing to shoot, then you have to buy, and if you have to buy at market value, I mean that blows, but it is what it is.
I mean, I have decided, because we do have a lot of 45 ammo. It's just been sitting for years because we kind of moved away from 45. We have I have enough 45 ammo to carry us the whole year. Easy. Easy. And if I decide that I can't do the 9mm, I could switch to 45 1911s. I mean, we do have some.
Dude, I got maybe 300 rounds of 45 sitting here at the house. What do we have in the armory?
I could put my eyes on because I haven't organized all that since the move. I mean, we've got at least. Well, no, that wouldn't be enough for the year, though. I mean, I know there's at least 5,000 rounds because I've got some military ammo from the Army that I can't discuss, and then I've got some civilian ammo. I mean, the military ammo from the Army is a case.
Okay.
And I mean, we have a nice bite of 45 ammo.
Okay, so if worst case scenario 9mm gets to the point where it's insane, we can switch to 45, and we got enough 45 ACP caliber guns to work that through.
Well, I've been doing the math on that, and like what I just did, because what's happened is we were getting a lot of our ammo in the same way that the police departments were, but what's happening is a lot of this is dried up, and the police departments, it's getting harder for them, so they have to start cutting people off, which is fair. But so we may have to start going out in the open market and buying it. And I've seen ammo right now. I was looking this morning. You can find it for 500, but it sells so quickly. It's not really worth it because but if you can get it, you can get it. But I can find cases of 9mm right now for about $700 a case. And as long as we can get it, like somebody's like, I'm not going to be like, okay, give me 5 cases of that. And I'm not going to be, they'll be like, oh, we're backlogged, 10 weeks to be like, suck my dick. We're fucking charging us back. Because if I'm going to give you $700 a case, motherfucker, you better wheel it over here in your goddamn truck personally. You know what I'm saying? And above that, it gets to $900. So, I mean, if I have to pay $900 a case, I can. I'm not going to be happy about it, but I can still buy it. The problem is most people, the average consumer at home, won't pay that. It's not that they can't get ammo. They simply can't afford it or won't afford it.
Well, I tell you what, I was talking to a friend of mine who was at a gun show a couple of weeks ago.
I bet that was a dumpster fire.
Oh, yeah, he did. Seriously. He said every box of 9mm ammo that was at that gun show, and all the dealers that were there coordinated. But every box, a 50-round box of 9mm ammo was $49.99 a box. It was $50 a box. Now, when you're paying $1 a round at a gun show, I mean, oh my God, that's terrible.
A 900 and change in shipping is a case of ammo is about $1 a round.
It's a buck a round. Yeah. I mean,
it used to be around 30 cents a round, probably at the best.
Yeah, about 30 cents a round. You know, yeah.
But I'm seeing it out there, and we were thinking about this. It's like, okay, what's going on? I mean, we know what's going on with the ammo, but I'm asking myself, and I guess we have to go back to politics here a little bit. I'm here. There's 2 schools of thought on this with guns and Biden. The argument could have been made. Biden's not going to shut down the Keystone Pipeline right now because they don't want to crash the economy. Every job counts right now, supposedly. Well, apparently not. So the other argument is the reality is the Democrats are pretty weak in the House. They've taken a beating. It's virtually a tie in the Senate, and the Democrats have gotten hammered on guns before when they've done stuff. Maybe Biden won't do anything and just kind of do nothing on guns, or really they might try to do some nibbling around. Maybe they'll try to limit ammo sales online or something, and maybe he may do something for imports of certain things. But if he does that, that's going to make the ammo. Anything he does is going to make the ammo situation worse because there's going to be more panic buying. But look, all these people that bought all these guns, we have like 7 million new gun owners as of 2020. If they all bought a box or something, I mean, the numbers, it was like they think there's like 17 million. That's 17 million rounds of ammo, or no, whatever it is. But it's maybe it's 100. I have to see what it is. But like people, like Classic Firearms, they had a couple weeks ago. They had some ammo. They sold Tula 115 grain, 9mm Russian steel case. Tula is garbage compared to. I know supposedly it's the same as Wolf.
No, it's not.
I don't. They claim it is, but I've seen worse issues with Tula. I don't care what they say. I've seen crazy issues, but I'll shoot it. But they were selling it for $4.99, and it sold fast. And it's like, well, I mean, all those people that bought that. I mean, I guess there's a bunch of people buying it. They're trying to sell it for $7 and $9. But I can't help but feel there's a lot of people. It's like toilet paper. When all this started with the toilet paper, a bunch of people bought a bunch of toilet paper. They can't. How much toilet paper can they use? I don't think. Like a guy who's hoarding ammo. If it kills him to pay $500 for a case of 9mm, and he bought a case of 9mm, is he going to buy 2 cases? Is he going to buy 3 cases? At what point is he going to stop buying ammo? I can't imagine the average gun guy who has bought a case is going to buy that many more. My point is, I feel like this may not be as bad for as long as it is as people think. That's assuming if Biden doesn't do something against guns.
Okay, so let's talk about Biden doing things against guns. Okay? Okay, now, I kind of like the fact that we talked about this off pod. I kind of like the fact that it's like we know it's a dead tie in the Senate. Honestly, in the midterms, if the Democrats really screw the pooch and do something crazy, they could lose the House. So the main thought that we talked about is maybe Biden will just back off. I mean, he'll do his liberal bullshit, but maybe he won't do anything crazy to piss off the people. However, let's go back in history. Bill Clinton becomes president of the United States, pushes the assault weapons ban. He loses the House and the Senate.
That led to impeachment.
Barack Obama becomes president. He owns the House and the Senate. They push through Obamacare. Boom! He loses the House and the Senate. So, do the Democrats follow through and Biden pushes through some crazy bullshit to lose the House and the Senate? Or do they just kind of ginger cake walk it to keep power in the House and the Senate?
Well, let's go back to the example you just gave.
Okay.
Because Clinton did the thing on guns, and if you look at the historical policy goals of the Democratic Party, they talk about guns. Guns is like one of those laser beam cat things. They just, like they wanted universal health care. They wanted, $15 an hour minimum. Like they wanted. There's a lot of things Democrats would do before they would do guns. And the Clinton administration did guns and got hammered over it. They got hammered over it. So the Obama administration comes in. They've got its change and the sea levels will fall and whatever and all this kind of stuff. And they didn't do anything about guns. They got smart. They were like, what's more important to us? Getting gun owners riled up or getting this, what they end up called Obamacare? They decided to go for Obamacare. And I'm wondering if that's going to be the same thing here. I don't know.
No, it could be. I mean,
we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We will see.
Yeah, but this time you have more inside influences, like the squad, like more liberals were elected, and they might want to push their agenda more so than the past administrations have.
Well, that's true, but here's the thing: the 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 Biden campaign, as it campaigned, and it did this pretty well. Deliberately, basically ignored Democratic Twitter. The Biden campaign. I mean, one thing you got to give the Biden campaign, objectively speaking, is, they went after Keystone Pipeline. They're going to do stuff. I mean, it's obvious they're going to do stuff.
Yeah, sure.
But they don't seem to be run in circles by, some editor of some bullshit magazine that no one's ever heard of that says, whatever. Because the Biden administration, at least Joe Biden, they deliberately did not react to everything on Twitter. They ignored it. And if you ignore Twitter, because Twitter isn't real, Twitter isn't real life. I got news for everybody. Parler isn't going to be real life either. Stay off of Parler too, in my opinion. I mean, if you gotta go someplace to find somebody, fine, but Parler's not going to be any better than Twitter. If you ignore that, the 140 character, 240 character harpy people, whether it's the right or the left, things get a lot more sane. And if you ignore those people, you don't have to worry about AOC. You don't have to worry about Ariana Presley. You don't have to worry about Tlaib. I mean, these people, they're just, like, okay, here's one for the right. The one woman who's now a GOP House member, Marjorie Greene, maybe, she immediately introduced articles of impeachment against Biden.
Yeah, I heard.
And it's like, okay, like, here's the thing. First of all, rah, everyone's like, yeah, we'll show you. But the reality is that's more about her than it is anything about Biden, because most people, Republicans, were like, who's this woman? Well, the whole point of that was really about her. And I know she can make the argument that it's not. She can make the argument about the election. She can make all kinds of arguments. China, look, we all get it. But that's not going anywhere. That's never going anywhere. And she knows it's not going anywhere. And the people, the news channels that report it knows it's not going anywhere. But everybody talks about it. It's really just something to talk about for 72 hours. It's not real. So, and a lot of this with these kinds of people, that's really the genesis of a lot of our problems, is stuff that's not real versus stuff that is real. So we'll have to see. Well, you know what? We've been going for a while. We can't go forever because I'm probably going to lose power here in a little bit. So, you want to do pop culture, or do you want to get the you want to do the police blotter to wrap it up?
No, you know what? I want to hear the police blotter, but I do want to hear pop culture. I'm intrigued by pop culture.
So I got two good ones for pop culture.
The first one, my vote don't count.
And you don't count.
Well, hey,
didn't AOC say this is what democracy looks like?
Okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Take your own stitches out.
Now, Danny, when you look at things on the hierarchy scale, you are the third guy at the bottom.
Well, you know what? Hey, look, we're just like the Senate, okay? There's three of us. And if two of us agree, that's 66.66%. We have a quorum. We've got it's a filibuster majority, proof majority. So okay, here's a cool one that I want to for the guys at home, and I thought this was really cool. Excuse me, really cool. Carol Shelby's personal Cobra 427 sold in Florida. I don't think it was Meacham. Maybe it was Meacham. I remember what auction house it was. 427.
Meacham's the big one.
Yeah, there's a couple of them, but this one was in Florida, and the 427 Carol Shelby personal Cobra. And again, he had lots of Cobras. Carol Shelby, for people that don't know, people know Carol Shelby is kind of from the movie Matt Damon. Another example, I'm going to watch the Ford versus Ferrari movie because I want to see the Ford versus Ferrari movie. I don't give two flying F's what Matt Damon thinks. So it's not gonna keep me from seeing the movie.
And you know what? I will see the movie once it comes on Netflix.
Yeah, well, I trust you. Matt Damon is probably Matt Damon's probably a lot worse than Tom Hanks. But he
is. I mean, I'm sure he is. But I like Matt Damon more than I like Tom Hanks. So
Carroll Shelby's personal 427. They build it as the actual car that Carroll Shelby kept his whole life. He would sell everything. Dude would sell you the shirt off his back. He was a salesman. But for some reason, this car, he didn't sell it. When he died, he owned it. And so maybe he couldn't sell it. I mean, who knows? But it sold at auction for a new record. I think it was misreported, so I'm going to give what I believe is the real number. The real number is $5.49 million. That's major dough.
That's amazing.
Now, to give people an idea of how much money that is relative to the car game. So, one of the big debates in the collector car community is the original Lamborghini Countach. The one Cannonball Run with the girl at the polyester outfit with the zippers and the original one, right?
Yeah, I know Cannonball Run.
Yeah, the argument that oh my god, that car and those women changed my life. So that when those doors went up, I was like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, I was like maybe 10, like oh my god. So the debate in the car collector community is, will the Lamborghini Countach be the next $1 million car? Like they're 400,000. Some of the rarer ones, they made those Countaches until 1990 or so, and there's different variants of it, but they're 400,000. Note to the listener, I saw a Lamborghini Countach for sale in 1997. I was at a dealer to buy another Lamborghini, and I was like, "Ooh, a Countach. Let me go sit in that." I sat in the car, and I literally, my head was hunched down. I couldn't fit. I was so disappointed. And if I remember correctly, the car might have been $26,000. If I'm wrong, maybe let's say it's $36,000. Today, I couldn't touch that car for less than $400,000. And I also subsequently found out later, when I became more knowledgeable, there is a tall man conversion. You just drop the seats and bolt them to the ground and put it all the way back. I could have actually, I'm 6'1". I could have fit in that car if it had been modified slightly. I just didn't know it. And me not buying that car, because I wanted that car, and I got in it and said, I can't drive this. I'm not buying a car I can't drive. That was probably one of the big buys that I literally lost. That's a regret. So $5.49 million. That's the first one. So for the car guys, I love cars.
Yeah,
Marky, how many wheels are on a Countach?
5.
Nope. 9.
I was counting the steering wheel. I knew it was a trick question.
No, it's not a trick question. You want to know the 9?
Sure.
The 4 regular tires that are on it. The spare tire is 5.
Yeah.
And I believe it's on the Countach all the way in the front because they sit so low under the most forward point.
I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
They have skating wheels.
Now, here's the thing. I've heard debates whether that's real or whether that was added aftermarket. Is that real? Is that a factory option or
I don't know if it was factory, but I'm amazed that the Countach name came up because I seen a video on that just yesterday, and it showed a set of 2 roller skate wheels and a set of 2 roller skate wheels to avoid all the cracking of the front spoiler.
See, you're talking about Tyler Hoovy, and he
right.
Tyler Hoover, and he bought a Lamborghini. Fun fact: Tyler Hoover bought 2 Lamborghinis. I think he's in Kansas.
Oh, you seen that one too?
But also fun fact to John 1911 people: the person he bought the Lamborghinis from is a big armor collector in the United States, and those wheels, I think those were added.
You think so?
I don't think those are factory. I never those little skateboard wheels. So they added skateboard wheels on this car, and I'll put a link in our thing for Tyler Hoover and his thing. So, but yeah, Lamborghini. So, well, here's another one. So, for the people that never think that we would never talk about high society Hollywood type people, do you guys even know who Gwyneth Paltrow is?
I know. I know who Gwyneth Paltrow is.
She's an actress.
Yeah, she's an actress, and she's also she's kind of this self-help kind of guru. She's got this company called Goop, and we talked about her, I think, probably about a year and a half ago. She was selling a crystal for like energy redirection or something, and I think she was selling this crystal, and women were supposed to put it in their vaginas. Like, I mean, that's like what her business is, right?
Hey,
like
you know what? I think every woman should put a crystal in their vagina.
Every woman needs a vagina crystal.
Yeah,
you know what?
Absolutely.
So every Christmas, so here's the thing, every Christmas and Valentine's Day, all we see all over the male-dominated, demographics are ads for women's pajamas and like women's lingerie. Like, get her what she really wants, and it's like she doesn't want that. Like, women don't want you to buy that shit for them. This is for guys. And it's like, come home to your wife or your girlfriend, be like, baby, I got you something that you want that's not like one of these goofy guy things, because guys never know what to buy their women, and go ahead and slip her a vagina crystal and tell her and see how proud she is of you. But anyway, back to Gwyneth. The reason she's making the podcast is she has a candle. I don't know how this works. I don't know. It's called the Vagina candle. Okay. And I don't know if it's...
I'm liking where this is going.
Why do I know that? Why do I feel those vibes, Freeze?
Flashbacks of Tijuana are coming back.
He didn't go there for the tacos.
No. Freeze. Spring break, 1991. There you go, right? Okay, so I don't know what this vagina candle is supposed to do. I don't know if you do a Bill Clinton with it and insert it. I don't know if you light it and put it on the mantle and pray to it. I don't know. I don't even want to know what the vagina candle is for. But all I do know is apparently it explodes. So they are recalling Gwyneth Paltrow's exploding vagina candles.
Why are they recalling it? Because if it explodes, it's gotta be more. I mean, I'm talking about the major O, not the big O, but the major O. Let that fucking candle explode, baby.
You know, if I ever brought anything home like that, I would have to take out permanent residency at an orthodontist office. Mm-hmm. Guaranteed.
See, here's the problem with you, Danny. Is your wife controls you.
I try not to laugh because you got really Freeze, really.
Yeah.
You know what? Podcast, first off, I'm not going to mention any names, but don't let your wife listen to this podcast.
Oh, she never know. No, she learned after dinner that evening. Fuck you guys. And she's pretty hardcore. So
one day Freeze comes home from work and he walked in and Mrs. Freeze is looking at him and he's like, hey, and he's putting stuff down and she hasn't moved. She's just looking at him. He's like, what's wrong? She goes, you know what's wrong. And you're like, no, I don't know what's wrong. She looks you dead in the eye and goes, I listen to your fucking podcast. You're like, Freeze be sleeping in the armory. So by the way, Freeze, you don't know this. You just made the title of this episode. The Major O will be the title of this episode of the podcast.
So Mrs. Danny, I apologize to the same extreme. I apologize to the state of Tennessee.
Boy, Freeze, you're really burning bridges. No, I'm kidding. Actually, Mrs. Danny loves you guys, and she goes, birds of, she said, birds of a feather. Birds of a feather.
Hey, look.
Birds of a feather get shot down together, right?
Yeah, it isn't that the truth. But, I love Mrs. Danny, so, we'll leave it at that.
So now
Yeah,
we're
love
going to,
this.
because I've let this one go really long because we went for a while without a podcast because there was just too much going on. But so we're going to go to the police blotter, and I've got three really good ones here because I just couldn't resist. So we always start with politics, so I'm going to start with this one. So, before Donald Trump was out of office, the National Guard and the Capitol Police and the Metro Police and all these agencies are setting up all these checkpoints, because they have to protect everything up there because it just got out of control.
Yeah.
This woman shows up at a checkpoint. I think she's driving a truck, and they stop her, and they're like, where are you going? She's like, I'm going in whatever. I'm a part of Trump's cabinet. And they're like, oh, okay, because I don't know, maybe she's like assistant secretary, associate ice bucket maker or something, And so, but I think they realized something was wrong, and she did something else. She tried to have, I think she may have had some fake credentials or something, and then it wasn't going well. You know what she pulled out as her ultimate, like, this is on the authority of the power of whatever, I put this in your face and you must let me pass. Take a guess what she pulled out of her pocket and stuck in these cops' faces as her authority as a member of Trump's cabinet to get through the checkpoint to get into the secure area in Washington, D.C.
You know what? I don't even fucking know.
A sovereign citizen paper?
That would be a very good guess.
And that's exactly the route I was thinking.
She probably is a sovereign citizen. She pulled out a challenge coin.
Oh, no, get the hell out of here.
That is now apparently the new coin of the realm. It used to be fake badges. Like guys wearing with these fake ass badges and surplus Crown Vic cars. Now apparently you can flash the challenge coin.
Oh my God.
They didn't say whose challenge coin, but it's like, oh my God. I just love that. I was like,
oh my God.
I thought for sure you were going to say she pulled out her crystal and showed him.
They pulled out her vagina crystal.
Wow.
Look into the crystal. First she wipes off the crystal. Look into the crystal. So,
it's going to explode. You're carrying a weapon.
So I have two. These are two stories out of Danny's home city of Chicago. So Danny's going to get a double trouble today. So the first one is a man was arrested recently in O'Hare Airport, and he wasn't a homeless person. He wasn't destitute. He was I think in a master's degree. He has a career. He has a skill set. He flew into Chicago O'Hare Airport, and apparently because he was so afraid of the coronavirus, he didn't leave the airport for 3 months. He was living there.
Yes, he was.
He had purloined some credentials and got into some crew areas and was even sleeping. And apparently some people even were giving him food. But he lived in Chicago's airport for 3 months. And it's like, well, that's interesting.
If he was living in Chicago's airport for 3 months, obviously someone was giving him goddamn food. And they were probably giving him water, or he would have freaking died.
Yeah, I don't know what his how he operated. I'm sure he was pretending to be an employee.
You know what? It doesn't matter how he operated. It was Chicago. You know what? If you're a fucking genderqueer weirdo, I self-identify as a honey badger, you're free. You get food and home and everything for free.
Well, you have to thank the state's attorney for that one.
Yeah.
I don't care about the gay guys, whatever. But okay, so now here's the other Chicago one. So in Chicago,
go ahead.
Guys driving around. I think it was I don't know. Somebody's driving a vehicle, and somebody attempts to carjack the vehicle. The person who owns the vehicle pulls out a firearm and points it at the carjacker. Take a guess. What does the carjacker do? A, does he pull out a gun and shoot at the vehicle owner? B, does he run away? Or C, does he call 911 because somebody pulled a gun on him?
Oh, I'm going with C. I'm totally
Wait a
going
minute.
with C.
There's an addendum to C, and he filed a complaint with the police department of him being threatened.
You know what? If Chicago, is this Cook County, Danny?
Yes.
Yeah, Cook County.
If Cook County,
wait a minute. And the Cook County State's Attorney's Office took the complaint and is now charging the car owner.
No way.
you know
Yes
what?
way.
Chicago, when these fools set your city on fire the way they're doing it out in Washington State, I'm not coming up there to save you.
No.
Marky, I know you have a big home and you know where we're coming to live. And I'll be in the closet.
Well, hell, your closet's bigger than my house.
This wraps up episode.
Then he's got room.
This wraps up episode 201 of the John 1911 podcast. If you want to see any more stories or pictures or links of anything we discussed, you can go to our website at john1911.com. That's JOHN1911.com. Remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun. Everybody, have a good day.
Hey, see you later.
Bye-bye.
You fools act like I'm goddamn Richie Rich over here.
Hey, you know what, though? You bring it on yourself.
Bye.
Yeah. I'm gonna. I just bought 20 mags.
Gold-plated pimp-ass bags.
Hell yeah, they are, bitch.
See you guys
Well,
later.
stop it. I'm going to White Castles.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.